August 23rd, 2016. You're looking at the NOAA Wide Atlantic Satellite View, guys. It's showing the remnants of Fiona really getting stripped apart by the upper level shear. Then below it, Invest 99. This thing is starting to rotate at the bottom level, and that's the beginning. If you watch it very closely, you can see the rotation. Now, Tropical Depression 7 is now Tropical Storm Gaston, Gaston. They're still predicting it to do that Atlantic North curve. We're going to watch that. Invest 99 again is strengthening as you see it approach the outer islands. And we're getting into that warmer water. It's going to get stronger. You're going to have some stripping of the power inside the storm. If it goes directly over the islands, you'll have some stripping away because of the mountain effect. Now, but most of the tracks keep it just north. And we'll take a look at that. Now, let's look at Fiona just a moment. You see that it's finally just about had the clouds stripped away by that wind shear, but the lower level spin is still at the surface. Notice the winds in front of the storm, diving down and going basically between Miami and Cuba. You see that, just the general wind direction, and that's going to be important in watching our models. One shows Fiona diving south and merging with Invest 99. I think we will have a name for this storm in the next few days. Before it will not be an Invest, it will become a depression, then a tropical storm, possibly a hurricane. I think they're underestimating Invest 99 now, except for NOAA. NOAA has a very good idea of what this thing could do, and we'll look at the report on that. And let's look at this is the rainbow infrared imaging. As those cloud tops get redder and get tighter, guys, it's harder for the wind shear and things like that to break these storms up. You notice back on Gaston coming out of the far right, that thing is spinning very well. We're starting to see the outer feeder bands. Look at the bottom of this. First, you're going to see that front push out towards the islands, and now you're starting to see the feeder bands start to form. It's going to be interesting now. They're calling this a post-tropical cyclone Fiona. The winds are down to 30 miles an hour, maximum sustained winds. And we'll look at the reports on the other two storms. Gaston, again, this is NOAA. It's a tropical storm, 65 mile an hour sustained winds. Pressure's down to 102 millibars. This one, they're putting a lot more information on Invest 99. Large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms located a few hundred miles east of the Leeward Islands is associated with a tropical wave. Environmental conditions are somewhat conducive for development of this system during the next couple of days while it moves west-northwest at 15 to 20 miles an hour. They're going out with hurricane hunters today. They're probably in flight at this point. We will get an update on that. But the satellite images really give you an insight onto that in that rotation. And notice that it went from 20% to 60% chance now, so they're watching it. Going over to Meteosat 9 off the African coast, you can see Gaston spinning off, and the storm behind it that was so large last night has basically been blown apart, but the moisture's being pulled into Gaston. Look at that last frame. You can see the eye for Gaston and the moisture being pulled in. Now let's look at the GFS model. We're going to look at this one and the CMC model that show the track of the storms. And this is a future cast basically, and it goes up to 384 hours. But you're seeing Gaston in the center go up and do that recurve, and I think they're underestimating Invest 99. They're still showing it, and we'll go through this and look at it closely. But notice there's two storms that are formed in September. But right there, you're seeing the remnants of Fiona and Invest 99 start to merge on this model. This is on August 25th. In 2 days, they're starting to merge. Then they start to cross the Florida Peninsula. Right there on August 28th. Seems to be moving slow at this point, but once it reaches into that Gulf, it speeds up. It's fully emerged by August 30th into the Gulf. Very hot water. Some of the warmest it will encounter is right there. Then you're going to see it track north across the Florida Panhandle up into Alabama. Guys, in that particular model, it's back a little further west than it was last night. But notice by September the 8th, there's 2 more storms. And again, this is future track. 2 more storms in the Atlantic. It's amazing to see this much energy. We're going to look at this just a little closer. You're seeing Fiona and Invest 99 merge, come across, come in and impact. Notice the impact in Alabama, guys. It's a little back, like I said, west from last night. Now, Fiona. Now, if you remember, initially this was going to skirt up the East Coast. If it merges with Invest 99, they could go across the peninsula up through Alabama and back over the East Coast. You could still see effects from that. Now, this is 99. Track hasn't changed much on this except that purple line, and that is from the Canadian Meteorological Center right there. See that curve right up the entire East Coast? That would create a lot of flooding and a lot of rip currents. Here's your tropical storm Gaston path, still expected to do the North Atlantic recurve. Now, let's change models. Let's go to the CMC. That's the one that showed the purple line with that storm Invest 99 strengthening and going up the East Coast. Let's watch this right there. You see it in the center. You've got Gaston. And notice how the models here, again, hits land right there in Georgia, goes up the East Coast, and is very strong as it comes out of the northeast. Again, this is a Canadian model. That's the one with the purple line. So we're dealing with 2 models that are actually giving us some type of projection, and that is GFS and this. They're not that far apart, maybe 200 miles. And if you put that in, if you kind of average those 2 together, this would basically go up the entire Florida Peninsula. But we're still a few days away from that merger of Fiona and Invest 99. Now, watch for 99 to become a tropical depression by the end of the day. It may be later in the night, but just keep an eye on it because it's trying to wrap these winds up a little tighter. It's elongated now, but that's going to change. We're starting to see the rotation in the last satellite images. But looking at the wind speed, you can see Gaston in the right, very well formed eye. And you can see Fiona still has the power that I was showing you at the surface. See that rotation? And you can see the elongated rotation below Fiona, Invest 99. And it does now look very probable, looking at this wind speed chart and the wind direction, that they could merge. How that will affect them, we'll have to wait and see, because we're seeing some kind of unprecedented tropical weather in the Atlantic right now, guys. I think it's the heat. I think it's the tilting of the magnetic poles slightly. Everything is changing it. But again, one thing about it, we have not had an Atlantic storm come up into that Gulf of Mexico since Katrina and Ivan came in back to back. You had a couple smaller storms, but these major Cat 4, Cat 5 storms, it's been a long time. It's overdue, they say. We're watching it. It's a heads up.